Understanding fast English can be one of the most challenging aspects of mastering the language, especially for non-native speakers. While it's common to hear people say, "I understand English perfectly in theory, but when it's spoken quickly, I can't keep up," this struggle is entirely natural. English is spoken at varying speeds across the globe, and each speaker may have a unique rhythm, accent, and vocabulary that can further complicate comprehension. Understanding fast English isn't just about hearing words. It's about understanding the speed, the pronunciation nuances, the use of contractions, and the rhythm of speech. Whether you're watching movies, listening to podcasts, or engaging in conversations with native speakers, this podcast will give you the tools to bridge the gap between passive understanding and active comprehension. So let's get started. Why fast English is difficult to understand. Understanding fast English can be challenging for several reasons. One of the most significant challenges when listening to fast English is the prevalence of contractions. In informal speech, native English speakers frequently shorten words by combining them into contractions. For example, instead of saying, "I am going to the store," people will say, "I'm going to go to the store." While these contractions are common in everyday speech, they can be hard to recognize, especially for learners who are used to hearing more formal or textbook language. Another feature of fast speech is the phenomenon of elision. This occurs when sounds are dropped or merged together. In fast English, it's common for native speakers to drop syllables, blending words together seamlessly. For instance, "I have to go" becomes "I have to go." When elision happens, it can be difficult for non-native speakers to catch every word, especially if they aren't accustomed to hearing it regularly. Similarly, in fluent English, speakers often link sounds together in a way that sounds very different from the individual words. For example, "I am going to" often sounds like "I'm gonna" when spoken quickly. This continuous flow can confuse those who are still learning how to break down and identify each word. The speed of speech may also vary depending on regional accents. For example, a person from New York might speak more quickly than someone from the Midwest, and the accent may make certain words sound quite different. Regional accents, slang, and even cultural idioms make understanding fast English a complex task for language learners. When spoken quickly, native speakers often assume their listeners are familiar with the context and won't slow down for understanding. They may speak at a pace that is natural for them, but difficult for a non-native speaker to follow. This is where your ability to infer meaning from context becomes essential. Even if you miss a word or two, being able to understand the topic and the flow of the conversation can help you keep up. Now that we've established why fast English can be difficult, let's focus on how you can train your ears to understand it. Just like any skill, understanding fast English requires practice and dedication. Here are several techniques that can help. First, active listening practice. Active listening is one of the most powerful tools in language learning. Instead of passively hearing English, engage with it. Start by listening to audio content that's slightly above your level of comfort, such as podcasts, TV shows, or YouTube videos, and focus on understanding the main ideas rather than catching every single word. At first, it will be challenging, but with practice, you will start to catch more and more of what's being said. You can use transcription services or turn on subtitles for videos to compare what you heard to the written text. This technique helps you identify words or phrases you may have missed and helps you build your listening comprehension over time. Second, slow down the speed. Many platforms like YouTube or podcast apps allow you to slow down the playback speed. Start by listening to content at a slower speed to catch every word clearly. Once you feel comfortable understanding the words, gradually increase the speed to match normal speech. This way, you build your confidence step by step. Third, shadowing technique. The shadowing technique involves listening to fast English and repeating what you hear immediately after. This forces your brain to pay close attention to the pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation of the speaker. To begin with, choose short clips, such as 2-minute audio segments, and try to mimic the speaker's pace, pronunciation, and tone. Shadowing helps with your pronunciation and gives you better insight into how fast English is articulated. Fourth, listening to various English accents. Expose yourself to different English accents by listening to various podcasts, TV shows, or movies. British English, Australian English, and American English all have different speech patterns, speeds, and accents. The more varied your exposure, the more adept you will become at understanding fast speech in diverse contexts. Fifth, focus on high-frequency vocabulary. Many fast speakers tend to use high-frequency vocabulary in their speech. These are words and phrases that appear very often in conversations like "how's it going?" or "what's up?" When learning these, you can understand the context of fast speech even if you miss some of the finer details. Start by learning common phrases and idioms that are used in everyday conversation. Now that we've discussed techniques for improving your listening skills, let's look at practical exercises to apply what you've learned. The key to improving comprehension of fast English is consistent, targeted practice. First, watching TV shows and movies with subtitles. TV shows and movies are an excellent way to practice listening to fast English. Begin by watching a show or movie with English subtitles. After watching, try to listen again without subtitles and see how much of the dialogue you can understand. Take note of any difficult words or phrases, look them up, and repeat the exercise until you feel comfortable. Second, podcast and audiobook listening. Listening to podcasts or audiobooks is another way to expose yourself to fast English. Choose podcasts or audiobooks that interest you. Start with slower-paced podcasts, and as you become more comfortable, transition to faster-paced ones. The beauty of podcasts and audiobooks is that you can rewind and replay sections, allowing you to better understand what was said. Third, dictation exercises. Dictation is a great exercise for improving listening skills. In this exercise, you listen to a short segment of fast English speech and write down what you hear. It forces you to pay close attention to each word and sound. Afterward, you can check your notes against the transcript to see what you missed. This exercise helps improve both listening and writing skills. Fourth, interactive language learning apps. Apps like Duolingo, Babbel, or Memrise provide interactive exercises where you listen to native speakers and are prompted to answer questions or repeat phrases. These apps usually feature varying levels of difficulty, so you can adjust the speed and complexity of the content. This makes them ideal for building your listening comprehension over time. Now, let's discuss staying motivated while learning fast English. Learning to understand fast English can feel overwhelming at times, but staying motivated is key to long-term success. It's important to remember that language acquisition is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be times when you feel frustrated, but persistence and practice are what will help you succeed. First, set realistic goals. Setting achievable goals is crucial. Don't expect to understand fast English overnight. Instead, set incremental goals, like, I will understand 80% of this podcast by next week, or I will listen to 10 minutes of fast speech every day. These small goals will keep you on track and provide a sense of accomplishment when you reach them. Second, celebrate progress. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Whether you understood a difficult podcast episode or successfully followed a fast-paced conversation, give yourself credit. These small wins add up and keep you motivated. Third, practice consistently. Consistency is the foundation of progress. Set aside time every day for listening practice, even if it's just 10 to 15 minutes. Regular exposure to fast English will gradually improve your listening skills. The more you listen, the more familiar you will become with the speed and rhythm of spoken English. Now, how to recognizing and overcoming common listening challenges. Fast English doesn't just involve speed. It also presents other challenges such as unfamiliar vocabulary, idiomatic expressions, and cultural nuances. In this chapter, we will discuss some of the most common listening difficulties learners face and how to overcome them. First, unfamiliar vocabulary. When listening to native speakers, You may frequently encounter words that are unfamiliar or used in a context that doesn't align with how you've learned them in textbooks. It's normal to feel lost when this happens, but the key is not to panic. Often, context will provide clues as to the meaning of unknown words. If you are hearing a word repeatedly, make a note of it and try to figure it out through the surrounding conversation. Once you hear the word used again in a similar context, it'll become easier to remember and understand. Second, idiomatic expressions and phrasal verbs. English is filled with idioms and phrasal verbs, which can be confusing when spoken quickly. For instance, the phrase break the ice has nothing to do with ice at all. Instead, it refers to initiating a conversation in a social setting. As you listen to more conversations, you will start picking up these expressions and recognizing them in speech. To overcome the challenge of idioms, try to expose yourself to a variety of informal English content, such as sitcoms, talk shows, and podcasts, where these expressions are used frequently. Third, cultural differences and contextual understanding. Native speakers often use cultural references, jokes, or allusions that may be hard to follow if you are not familiar with them. Understanding the cultural context of a conversation will greatly improve your listening comprehension. For example, jokes or slang terms in American English might not make sense to someone from another country. It's helpful to broaden your cultural knowledge by reading books, watching movies, or talking to native speakers to understand the social and cultural context behind the language. There are few strategies for overcoming these challenges. Use online dictionaries or apps that provide example sentences to help you understand new vocabulary and context. Listen to the same content multiple times, as repetition reinforces vocabulary and idiomatic usage. Watch content from a variety of English-speaking regions to better familiarize yourself with different idioms and accents. Now comes how to immerse yourself in English for faster learning. One of the best ways to improve your ability to understand fast English is by immersing yourself in the language. Immersion accelerates learning by providing constant exposure to English, forcing you to adapt quickly to the language's natural pace and structure. Let's explore how you can create an immersive environment, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country. First, surround yourself with English media. As we mentioned earlier, watching English-language movies and TV shows, listening to podcasts, and reading books are excellent ways to immerse yourself in English. But immersion goes beyond just passive consumption of media. Engage with these resources actively. For instance, watch a TV show episode, pause after each line of dialogue, and try to repeat the sentence out loud. This practice helps you pick up on pronunciation and the natural rhythm of speech. Second, participate in online communities. The internet offers endless opportunities to practice English. Join online communities, participate in discussion forums, or follow social media accounts that use English regularly. Platforms like Reddit, Quora, or language learning groups on Facebook or Discord are great places to interact with native speakers. By contributing to discussions, you will start hearing and using fast English in a natural, conversational context. Third, language exchange programs. Language exchange is another powerful tool for immersive learning. Connect with native speakers who are learning your native language and practice with them. You can practice speaking slowly and clearly, but as your partner becomes more comfortable, you will likely be exposed to faster speech. Not only will this help you improve your listening skills, but it will also give you the opportunity to practice speaking at a natural pace. Fourth, engage in real-life conversations. If possible, try to engage in real-life conversations with native speakers. This can be done in person or through online platforms like Zoom or Skype. The more you practice conversing in English, the more comfortable you will become with listening to fast speech. Be patient with yourself. In real-life conversations, it's okay to ask someone to slow down or repeat what they've said. Over time, you will become more adept at catching what's being said. Fifth, travel or study abroad. While not always feasible, traveling to an English-speaking country or participating in a study abroad program can provide invaluable exposure to fast English. This kind of immersion places you in an environment where English is spoken all around you, forcing you to adapt quickly. Being surrounded by English in everyday situations, like ordering food at a restaurant or asking for directions, helps you learn to process the language at a faster pace. Let me tell you now how to understand regional accents and varieties of fast English. English is spoken with various accents and dialects, and these variations can make fast English even more challenging. Understanding regional differences in English is essential for improving your comprehension, especially when speakers use different pronunciations, vocabulary, and slang. First, American English versus British English. American and British English differ in many ways, including spelling, pronunciation, and vocabulary. While Americans may say apartment, the British use the word flat. When listening to fast English, it's important to familiarize yourself with these differences. You don't need to be an expert in every accent, but learning the distinct sounds of different English dialects will allow you to understand them better. Second, Australian English and other varieties. Australian English is another variety that can be difficult to follow. Australians tend to speak quickly, use many slang terms, and have a distinct accent that may confuse non-native speakers. Common phrases like "how's it going?" or "no worries" are used frequently and may be unfamiliar to learners. In addition to Australian English, you may encounter other regional accents such as Canadian, South African, or Irish English. Each of these regions has its own pronunciation patterns, and the speed at which people speak can vary greatly from one region to another. Third, fast speech in different accents. The key to understanding fast English is not just learning the sounds of words, but also becoming familiar with how different accents affect the speed of speech. For example, while some dialects like Southern American English might seem slower, to some listeners, others like Cockney English, a British dialect, tend to be faster and harder to follow. Recognizing the accents you're listening to will help you adjust and improve your comprehension. The next is overcoming fear of asking for clarification. One of the most common challenges language learners face is the fear of asking someone to repeat themselves when they don't understand something. You might worry about appearing incompetent or not fluent enough, but asking for clarification is a natural and necessary part of the language learning process. First, why asking for clarification is important. Asking someone to repeat or explain something is completely normal, even for native speakers. In fact, native speakers often ask for clarification when they don't understand a word or phrase, especially if they're listening to someone with a strong accent or unfamiliar vocabulary. In language learning, it's crucial to accept that it's okay to ask for help. Each time you ask for clarification, you're giving yourself a chance to understand better and to keep learning. Second, how to ask for clarification politely. There are many polite ways to ask for clarification in English. Here are a few useful phrases. "I'm sorry, could you say that again? I didn't catch that. Could you repeat it? Could you please speak a little slower? Sorry, I'm not sure I understand. Could you explain that?" Asking for clarification in a respectful and friendly manner will help you build confidence and keep the conversation going. Most people will appreciate your willingness to learn and be happy to help. Third, making clarification a habit. Instead of feeling embarrassed or frustrated when you don't understand something, try to make asking for clarification a regular part of your language practice. Every time you don't understand something, take the opportunity to ask for more information. Over time, this will make you more confident in navigating fast English conversations. To wrap up this episode, let's review some of the most important takeaways for understanding fast English. Slow down and listen actively. Use tools like subtitles and slow playback options to help you catch more words. Repetition is key to mastering fast speech. Practice with a variety of content. Expose yourself to different types of media, including podcasts, TV shows, and movies, to get used to different speeds and accents. Stay consistent. Learning fast English is a gradual process. Consistent practice is the best way to improve. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. Asking for help is a crucial part of learning. Don't hesitate to ask native speakers to slow down or repeat themselves. Engage in real conversations. The more you practice speaking and listening in real life situations, the better you will understand fast English. Remember, understanding fast English is a skill you can develop with time and effort. Keep challenging yourself, and soon you will find yourself keeping up with even the fastest speakers.